right, let's get into this, man. You know, that was for the thumbnail. All right. Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. I'm a plus size model for those of y'all that didn't know. All right. Let's get into this. First things first. I'm Kirk Kennedy. Welcome to CNN. Let's go win. All right. Y'all messed up, man. I found out how to do reaction videos. I like these joints. I think it's interesting that people will watch you watching the video, right? And like and subscribe. All right. But anyway, these are kind of fun. So I had somebody send me on Twitter, a homie sent me a link. He said, bro, you're going to do a video on Trump's new interview. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So he sent me a link to an interview. It's an hour plus long interview, but there's a section of it that I thought, I didn't only watch the part of it, so I have no idea. So this could be a whack episode. This could be whack. I didn't even know I could do this live. I thought I had to pre-record it and then do it. So we're going to do this live and direct. That's how we do it. All right, so this is my second reaction video. I like these joints. All right, so this is going to be Trump on abortion. So again, this is a Meet the Press interview. And apparently Trump says some stuff about abortion that is going to make the conservatives that really think that Trump is God's man and that's going to make them mad. I don't know. I'm going to watch it. If you want to watch it with me, we can. If you don't, cool. I just think, you know what? Here's the thing about Trump. Love him or hate him, he's an entertaining dude, man. Like I'm going to be honest, and this is probably going to be me, and on some level it could be, but this is just the reality, right? So when Trump came into office, remember there was a girl named, I guess she was in the corn industry that he had ended up being intimate with and giving his lawyer was giving her hush money to not say nothing, right? Stormy Daniels. And man, when they asked him about Stormy Daniels one day, he called her horse face. Let me tell you why it's kind of, but why it was funny to me. It wasn't so much that she looks like a horse. I mean, he obviously was intimate with her. He ain't had no problem then, right? What was funny to me was that, like, normally presidents don't do that. Like, Trump is the first non-presidential president we've ever had in my lifetime. So when he called her horse, it just reminded me of growing up when we joan on each other. And we still do that to this day. I mean, we have fun with each other. We'll make fun of each other, all that. So it was just funny to me to see the president doing that. So he's entertaining to say the least. All right. Well, let's jump into this thing, man. I have no idea how this is going to be, but I'm excited to see what happens. So here we go. Trump on abortion. Let's start the show.
The war in Ukraine. But first, I do want to talk about the issue of
Hold
abortion.
up, I don't hear it. Do you hear it? Do you hear it? Hold on. Let me see if I can hear it. Oh, I know what I have to do. Hold on. I think to do this, to hear this, I may have to put in the headphones. So let's do that real quick. Put the headphones in because I want to talk about whatever he's talking about. I think, again, it's Trump. And to be clear, he's probably going to be the president again. For those of you that think he's not and are hoping against hope, I don't think so. I think Trump is going to do it. All right, here we go. Let's go. Trump on. Here we go.
Just this week, women in Idaho and Tennessee, I don't know if you saw this, filed suit against their state saying their lives were put at risk after they were denied abortion services because their state's restrictive laws put in place after Roe was overturned. So my question for you, Mr. President, is how is it acceptable in America that women's lives are at risk, doctors are being forced to turn away patients in need, or risk breaking the law?
Ready? A little bit of a long answer. I hope you have time.
I hope you have time. Okay. I'm here for as long as you have.
Roe v. Wade. For 52 years, people, including Democrats, wanted it to go back to states so that states could make the right. Roe v. Wade, I did something that nobody thought was possible, and Roe v. Wade was terminated, was put back to the states. Now, people, pro-lifers, have the right to negotiate for the first time. They had no rights at all. because the radical people on this are really the people, the Democrats, that say after 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, and even after birth, you're allowed to terminate the baby.
Democrats aren't saying that. I just have to. Democrats are not saying that.
Of course
That's
they do.
not true.
You have a Virginia governor, previous governor, who said after the baby is born, you will make a determination, and if you want, you will kill that baby. The baby is now born.
Democrats writ large are not talking about that. Only.
All right, so let's just be clear here. I don't know. I think that's a crazy reality. I think I'm just going to be. We just keep it 100 right here. We keep it 100. The Democrats be wilding, bro. Like I'm talking about just this whole idea of like. Let me tell you why why it's bad. I'm you're not supposed to say all these words now because you get flagged, right? Let me tell you why this is crazy. Even if you could convince us that a baby is just a clump of cells, like it's not really, it's not a life yet, it's a clump of cells, right? Even if you could convince that that's true, let's just say that somehow it was like, yep, life doesn't begin at conception, it's a clump of cells, it's not life yet until a certain amount of time. Let's just say you could convince us of that. Here's the one problem with that argument, right? Right now, there's no other way that people are formed. There's no other way that people come into this world. So even if you said, well, that's not a actual child, it's a clump of cells, the problem that you have is that clump of cells will eventually become a life. Like there's no other, it's not like we have a bunch of different ways and you're saying, well, this way is not necessary. There's only one way that it happens. And so that clump of cells will become an actual life. So even if you think you're just getting rid of the clump of cells, it will eventually become a life. It's just nonsensical. It doesn't make sense. So it doesn't make sense. I think the Democrats be wilding if that's where they at. But let's just keep going. What do I know?
Only 1% of late-term abortions happen in the state of
They are
crisis.
the radical people because nobody wants to see abortion after 5 months and 6 months and 7 months. And now it gave people that believe in pro-life. Look, just so you understand, it's pretty much 50-50. It's a 50-50 issue. Amazing. If you look at the charts, it's been 49, 51. It's been like that for many years. Goes both ways. 51, both ways. Ready? I was able to do something which gave at least pro-life people a voice. Now it's going to work out. Now the number of months will be determined. And you're going to have something where everybody comes together.
Does it bother you, though, that women say their lives are being put at risk? Do you feel you bear any responsibility? Because as you say, you are responsible.
What's going to happen, this is an issue that's been going on for a long time, and it's a very polarizing issue. Because of what's been done and because of the fact we brought it back to the states, we're going to have people come together on this issue. They're going to determine the time because nobody wants to see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Nobody wants to see abortions when you have a baby in the womb. I said.
All right. I don't know where he's going with this, but I'll just say this. Like I don't know who the reporter is. I don't know her name. She's articulate woman. She seems to be arguing with him. She's clearly not on a conservative, right? But what's interesting to me is when people make these arguments, they always choose like the lowest worst case scenario, right? Like, yes, there are women whose lives are in danger from certain pregnancies, but the vast majority of people who terminate their pregnancy, their lives are not in danger, right? Let's just keep it a thou wow. They're not in danger. The only danger their lives are in the responsibility that comes with going to full term with a pregnancy, right? Their lives are not in danger. They always use like the worst case scenario to be like, what about this? Like, you ever had somebody come to you and say, well, what about the pygmies in Africa? What if they don't hear the gospel? Are they going to hell? And it's like, fam, in all seriousness, like, you don't even know where the pygmies in Africa are at. Like, you ain't even never seen no pygmies in Africa, right? There's always like the worst case, the most scenario that gets put out as like the standard. Most women, if we want to keep it a thou wow, Like women can plan. The way the female body works and the way that God created the body, women can most likely they know when are the days that they're most fertile to get pregnant. Like if women really wanted to care about that, they could actually calendar when, okay, these days we cannot be intimate because I'm more likely to be pregnant. Like there's only like a couple days in a month where it's like this is the wrong day to not pull out. You know what I'm saying? Like this is it. It's like women can do. It's really fascinating that women can do that. So a lot of these people that are getting pregnant, they could just time it so they don't. So you don't even got to get to a point. I mean, there's so many ways to get around. I'm talking about. Ain't nobody gonna do abstinence, right? Let's just be. Just come and believe that you ain't gonna do abstinence. The world ain't gonna do abstinence. So I love when people say, "What about?" Ain't nobody gonna do that. This is a sexualized society. Like sex sells, and ain't nobody gonna do that unless you really have a conviction against that, right? So, but there's still people who could plan around this thing, right? So you don't even gotta get pregnant. So this whole like, oh, what about women who, yeah, maybe in those situations, case by case, but don't act like that's the standard of why people are actually terminating their pregnancies. Who you telling? We know we hip. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's get back to this joint. I think it's about to get crazy for some reason.
With Hillary Clinton, when we had the debate, I made a statement: rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month. You're allowed to do that, and you shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Again, no one
and
is
again,
arguing
listen,
for that. That's
look,
not a part of anyone's platform, Mr.
The
President.
Democrats are able to kill the baby after birth.
Let me talk to you.
Nobody wants that.
Democrats don't want that
So
either.
we're going to come together.
I want to know what you want. I want to know what you're going to do if you're
We are
reelected.
going to come
Would you sign
together.
federal legislation that would ban abortion at 15 weeks?
No, let me just tell you what I do. I'm going to come together with all groups, and we're going to have something that's acceptable. Right now, to my way of thinking, the Democrats are the radicals, because after 4 and 5 and 6 months, but you have to say this, after birth. You have New York State and other places that pass legislation where you're allowed to kill the baby after birth.
Mr. President, I want to give voters who are going to be weighing in on this election a very clear sense of where you stand on this.
She's trying real hard. Like she's trying to, he keeps repeating the same thing. Like, answer the question, Mr. President.
Listen, you're asking me a question. What's going to happen is you're going to come up with a number of weeks or months. You're going to come up with a number that's going to make people happy, because 92% of the Democrats don't want to see abortion after a certain period of time.
If a federal ban landed on your desk, if you...
Whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. This dude just said 90, what do you say, 2% that don't want to see abortion after a certain period of time. But he just said they were the radicals that want to see abortions after even people giving birth, and quoted New York. He repeated that like 3 or 4 times and just said that. So Donald Trump, boy, that dude is a gangster with it. He got a silver tongue, that joint. So on one level, the Democrats are the radicals, they want this. Now you're saying that, well, we need to work with them because 92% of them don't want that. Man, this is what this dude does. Like, he said this, now he's saying that, and it's like, but he's saying that for a reason. Let's find out. Let's see where we at with this.
Were reelected, would you sign it at 15
Are you
weeks?
talking about a complete ban?
A ban at 15 weeks?
Well, people are starting to think of 15 weeks. That seems to be a number that people are talking about right now.
Would you sign that?
I would sit down with both sides and I'd negotiate something, and we'll end up with peace on that issue for the first time in 52 years. I'm not going to say I would or I wouldn't. I mean, DeSantis is willing to 6-week ban.
Would you support that? You think that goes
I think what he did is a terrible thing and a terrible mistake. But we'll come up with a number. But at the same time, Democrats won't be able to go out in 6 months, 7 months, 8 months and allow an abortion. And Kristen, you have to look at this, because you said no. You have some states that are allowed to kill the child after birth, and you can't allow that.
But Mr. President, again, no one is calling for a child to be killed after birth. No one's calling for that.
But you
to
have
be allowed.
legislation.
But let me just ask
Kristen, you have legislation in certain states where it's allowed.
Mr. President,
the governor of Virginia, the media, when I...
All right, so See, this is what, see, people, this is what's funny, right? Here's a thing, right? Like conservative believers, they would, largely identify as evangelical Christians. And Christians typically are supposed to be about two things primarily, right? Character and truth. Like those are sort of the spy versus spy, the yin and the yang of Christian. Character and truth. Obviously, because of Jesus, faith in Jesus, right? So Donald Trump, I think, is the first president that conservatives were like, we don't really care about his character anymore. We just care about truth. We just care about policy. So it's not character or truth. It became policy, right? We just want to stop the Democrat. Totally fine. I get it. You disagree with them. Do what you do. But it's fascinating to watch this dude just backpedal. Like he just said, Ron DeSantis did a terrible thing by signing a 5-6 week ban. But he doesn't say why it's terrible. Then she said, what would you do? He said, well, I'm not going to say what I would do or wouldn't do, right? But he also says right before that, we got to pick a number and work with the Democrats. What do you mean by pick a number? You know what he means by pick a number? Pick a time frame in which abortion is allowable that serves both the conservatives, what they think, and the Democrats, what they think, the Republicans and Democrats. That's what he's saying. Let's find a number. Is what he's saying. I'm going to find a number, not 6 months that you can do, but a number that we can all agree with and end the discussion. But here's the problem. Most people that I know that are conservatives, they want abortion done. Like they're not going for no 6, 12 weeks. Now I'll give him that. It did get kicked back to the states because of the Supreme Court justices that he put into play. But a lot of people that I know, they're not looking for no, ban, no 12 weeks, no 7 weeks, no 6 weeks. They want someone who's not going to do it at all. So it's fascinating to see him say, well, Ron DeSanctimonious is what he calls him, chose a period of 5 to 6 weeks. He said, you did a terrible job. But now we find ourselves in this crazy, where he's not trying to say what he would do. You know why? Because if he picks a number, he makes the conservatives angry. And if he doesn't pick, he's just trying. Listen, Donald Trump is not a conservative. He's a Trumperative. He just wants to be in the White House. He likes the power. He's not a conservative. He doesn't care about the values as much, but he knows that's his base. He has to appeal to his base. I think I messed up the timeline, so let's go back to this and see where we at. This is crazy.
He's willing to sign a 5-week and 6-week ban.
Would you support that? You think that
I
goes
think what
too
he
far?
did is a terrible thing and a terrible mistake. But we'll come up with a number. But at the same time, Democrats won't be able to go out in 6 months, 7 months, 8 months and allow an abortion. And Kristen, you have to look at this because you said no. You have some states that are allowed to kill the child after birth, and you can't allow that.
But Mr. President, again, no one is calling for a child to be killed after birth. No one's calling for that.
But you
to
have
be allowed.
legislation.
But let me just ask
Kristen,
you.
you have legislation in certain states where it's allowed.
Mr. President.
The governor of Virginia, previous governor, who was a whack job. I call him the Michael Jackson governor.
No one's talking about that
governor,
as a part of their platform. I want to know what
that governor said you can kill the baby after birth.
But Mr. President, this is about what you would do if you were reelected. As you know, you upset.
We will agree to a number of weeks, which will be where both sides will be happy. We have to bring the country together on this issue.
Mr. President, when you talk about negotiating.
Listen, both sides are not going to be happy. Like why is a 78-year-old dude and then Biden an 82-year-old dude? Why are they the people? Here's the issue with politics. It's not even about the president. The problem with politics is that Congress has an unlimited term. Nancy Pelosi's trying to come back into Congress and she's like 80 years old. These people, they can't let it go. And they carry grudges for decades, right? So when new politicians come in thinking they're going to change the world and focus on their constituencies, they get brought into this old beef. It's like when I was in the street. When you join a gang, you inherit the beef they got. So if they're not cool with these dudes and you join this gang, then you guys shoot at them too, right? That's kind of what's happening here. No conservatives are going to be happy with this. It's fascinating that he keeps saying we're going to find a number that people are happy with.
Negotiating. I think a lot of people think to themselves, this is an issue that they care about
I
deeply
care about it
in
too.
their hearts.
Oh, I care
and they
about it
know
too.
where they stand, and they want to know where you stand. As you know, some anti-abortion groups are really looking for some clarity from you. So let me just ask you to put a fine point on this. Should the federal government impose any abortion restrictions, or should it be completely left up to the states?
No, I don't think you should be allowed to have abortions well into a pregnancy.
But what about the question I just asked?
Well into a pregnancy.
We're going to agree to a number of weeks or months or however you want to define it. And both sides are going to come together, and both sides, and this is a big statement, both sides will come together, and for the first time in 52 years, you'll have an issue that we can put behind us.
At the federal level?
It could be state or it could be federal. I don't frankly care.
So you're not committed.
Listen to what he's saying. Both sides are going to, this is how confident that he feels like he definitely has the conservatives, right? He just said the Democrats are radicals and then saying, no, they don't want to kill babies. And now he's saying he's saying the conservatives are going to come together. So he's basically talking like they do what I say. You may not think he's saying that, but what this dude is saying. I know conservatives that are not going to be happy at all, that are not happy with this at all. This is why somebody sent me this. This Donald Trump is wilding right now. And it's kind of wild because, you know what, I actually think this, I think this is what I honestly believe to be true. I think that right now, Donald Trump and Joe Biden are a gift from the Lord. And let me explain why. Because I think God is exposing who we really are as a nation by having these two men be the front runners in our political system. And we all know whoever is the president, I mean, think about it. The Democrats, you do not love this country. You put a dude that has Alzheimer's essentially as president. This dude struggles to answer his face looks like he has plastic surgery. I'm not even trying to mock the dude. This is a scary thing. No wonder China and them are trying to go to war with us because they want to do it now while he's president. Because he might not even know what button to push. Like, how do you say you love the country and you're trying to promote this dude? And then, and then on the right, like the most immoral dude that maybe passed a few policies, but lies through his teeth. This guy has 91 charges and 4 indictments. It's almost statistically impossible that he didn't commit one of those crimes. Not one of them. But everyone who's a conservative thinks that he's all getting run through the mail. This corrupt dude who has a history. This is a gift from the Lord because the Lord is trying to show those of us who belong to him, like, look at the representatives. You're willing to fight over this dude? Now, I'm not saying that you should want the other guy. I'm just saying you're willing to fight. This is the guy that you think is from me? Like, this is the guy that's the Osiris, the savior of the Christian right? Like, I'm sure it's me.
To a ban at the
I will
federal
say
level.
this, everybody, including the great legal scholars, love the idea of Roe v. Wade terminated so it be brought back to the states.
It sounds like that's what you think too, that
Well,
it should remain a state issue.
I would say this, from a pure standpoint, from a legal standpoint, I think it's probably better, but I can live with it either way. It's much more important. The number of weeks is much more important. But something will happen with the number of weeks, the amount of time, after which you can't do it. And you know what? The most powerful people that are anti-abortion are okay with that now. And you know what? They weren't okay with that even a year ago.
Your former vice.
Wow. Do you know how many people celebrated that, conservatives, that Roe v. Wade was taken out of the federal court and now pushed to the states? And now he just said, I can go either way. There's people that are okay with that now. Wow. I'm sure it's me, though.
President Mike Pence believes that a fetus should have constitutional rights. Do you believe that, Mr.
Well,
President?
Mike Pence said something about 15 weeks, too, which was a big change for Mike Pence because Mike Pence had no exceptions. I have exceptions, by the way. I think people should have exceptions. I think if it's rape or incest or the life of the mother, I think you have to have exceptions.
Does a fetus have constitutional rights, Mr.
And a lot of
President?
people, when they don't have exceptions. Now, I will tell you that I think most people, most Republicans are willing. You go life of the mother, rape, incest. I think most of them are there.
But
No, no, they're not. I mean, there may be some, but there are a lot of people who think, man, no, 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 no. Boy, this is interesting. This is going to be, this is 20, yeah.
should a
That's a
fetus
big
have
statement.
constitutional rights, Mr. President?
Well,
Just-
I don't know what he's saying, because
Yes,
before
yes,
he wanted,
it should have constitutional
you couldn't have
rights.
abortion
But what
at
are
all.
you saying?
Now all of
What
a
do
sudden,
you think?
excuse me. Now all of a sudden he's saying 15 weeks. I said, wow, where did that come from? That's a radical change. Look,
He's always trying to compare. Listen, Mike Pence is actually a believer. You know what? There's a quote, like Mitt Romney put this out there. Let me read you something that Mitt Romney said. Now, Mitt Romney, he's fooling himself, right? Mitt Romney put this out there. A buddy of mine sent me this the other day and asked me what I thought about it. And I said, well, this dude wouldn't have won anyway. But listen to what Mitt Romney said. This was in the Atlantic a couple days ago, right? Mitt Romney said, well, this is quoting. It says, Romney had long been put off by Mike Pence's pious brand of Trump sycophancy. No one, he told me, has been more loyal, more willing to smile when he saw absurdities, more willing to ascribe God's will to things that were ungodly than Mike Pence. So what he's trying to say is Mike Pence is actually a real believer. And he said because he was the VP, that Mike Pence basically just grinned and bared it and pretended like Donald Trump was of God and the things he was doing were of God, but they were really absurdities. This is what, and so Mitt Romney said he's not running. But let's be clear. Let's just be clear. Sorry, let's just be honest. We keep it 100 here. Mitt Romney wouldn't have won president because most people think Mormonism is a cult. It's not a true, and so he's Mormon, and so he didn't win in 2012. He's not going to win now. Nobody's even talking about this dude. So, but his point about Mike Pence though is absolutely right. And now this dude, this wicked dude, is comparing himself to a believer, Mike Pence, right? And then on January 6th, conservatives were with the hang Mike Pence. Like, this dude is a believer. He's a brother in the Lord, and you're letting this dude compare himself to Mike Pence. This is fascinating. I'm glad somebody sent me this. Y'all might not care about this. This is fascinating to me because I don't like either party, but it's really interesting to see this, knowing how some of my conservative brothers think about this guy.
Thing is going to happen that's going to be good for everybody, and that's what I'm almost like a mediator in this case. They wanted Roe v. Wade terminated because it was inappropriate. We got it done. Something's going to happen. It's going to be a number of weeks. Something's going to happen where both sides are going to be able to come together. And then we'll be able to go into other things like the economy, our military.
Are you saying a federal ban with exceptions? Is that what you're saying?
What I say is very simple, because you can't put words in my mouth like that.
I
Because
just
you've been
wanna
hearing me talk
understand.
about this issue, and I think
He don't want to put words in his mouth because it'll crush him.
Productively. It could be a state ban. It could be a federal ban. But Democrats want that too. Democrats don't want to see abortion in the 7th month. Okay, I speak to a lot of Democrats. They want a number. There is a.
Do you guys realize what's happening right now? I don't know if you realize this. I'm sure you do. You guys are smarter than me. Do you realize what's happening right now? Donald Trump is basically saying Democrats are the radicals. They want abortion after the baby's born. And he quotes, says New York has laws for that. Then he's saying he's basically saying all the conservatives pretty much, from what I see, are all throwing the Democrats under the bus, that they just want to kill babies at any point in time, all of it. And that's kind of been their thing. And that's why they want Donald Trump, because they'll stop it. This dude, this is like the 4th time he said this. The Democrats don't want that. I talked to them. You see what he's doing? He's trying to get everybody. He wants even to get the Democrats to vote for him. If he can represent them a little bit, but stay with. This is fascinating interview. This is fascinating to watch him try to finagle his way on one of the most hot button issues in our country, and then make it seem like he alone is going to be able to get conservatives to settle for a certain weeks. And maybe he will, but that's not. I'm sorry. That's still murder. Snoop Dogg, murder was the case that they gave me. This is fascinating. I'm getting ready to end this because I think this is fascinating. But let's watch a couple more minutes.
Number, and there's a number that's going to be agreed to. And Republicans should go out and say the following, because I think the Republicans speak very inarticulately about this subject. I watched some of them without the exceptions, et cetera, et cetera. I said, other than certain parts of the country, you're not going to win on this issue, but you will win on this issue when you come up with the right number of weeks, because Democrats don't want to be radical on the issue. Most of them, some do. They don't want to be radical on the issue. They don't want to kill a baby in the 7th month or the 9th month or after birth. And they're allowed to do that, and you can't do that.
I ain't doing this no more. So look, man, this dude, woo! I hope y'all caught what I caught, right? The Republicans, look, they're talking really inarticulate. People are expressing their biblical convictions, many of them, right? Their biblical convictions. He's saying that he's upset. You're not going to win. That's the key. He's a Trumperative. He's not it's about winning to him. He wants the power. And he's telling him, you're not going to win on this issue. For many conservatives, this isn't about winning. This isn't about winning the White House. This is about a real conviction that they feel like comes from the scriptures, that comes from, the Noahic covenant. You know what I'm saying? It comes from people being made in God's image. This has nothing to do with winning. You see what I'm saying? It's about winning. And then he goes back to the Democrats. Oh, they don't want to have abortions after that. But she interrupted him like 4 times because he was saying they do want that. And she was saying they don't want that. Man, this dude is like the girl in the Exodus whose head was just spinning around. Do you know what she did? This dude is just wild. And you know what? And this is who's going to probably be the president. This is a gift from the Lord to us, because if nothing else, it's teaching us. Our political system is teaching us to set our minds on things above where Christ is seated and not on earthly things. It's teaching us to don't let this seed be choked out by the thorns and thistles. And when Jesus explained in Mark 4 that people, the cares of this life and the worries and the riches and the desire for other things, believers care I know a lot of believers that care way too much about what the world cares about and don't even think about like eternity and life after. So, man, vote your conscience, but don't lose your conscience for a vote. What a crazy joint. This dude is like, he's the hippopotamus of hypocrisy. But you know what? Do what you do. The left is no better. I think Joe Biden's going to have us all killed if he gets another term. This dude is ridiculous. But this is perfect for us. You might say, well, what would you? This is perfect for us. The Lord is showing us, why are you putting your hope in these people? They have no character. They don't know me. They don't care about me. They only want you to give them power to do what they want to do. And what do I know? I love these videos. I'm going to enjoy doing these. What a crazy interview. I'm not even putting the link in the description. Just put Donald Trump meet the press. This boy is wild. This boy is crazy. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Appreciate y'all. Like and subscribe to the channel. We growing, we building. Y'all see the new camera. Y'all see the new strategy, the new structure. Y'all see it. Holla at your boy. Let me know what's going on. Kimity, baby.